Gary, apply this. In other words, so far we got an intellectual discussion here on the evidence, but I'm going to throw in the personal note, Tony, if you don't mind. Let's hear what Gary has to say. 95, your wife, Debbie, that every one of your students that I've seen letters and heard about said that you guys had a love affair that was made in heaven. And yet she came down, 40-some years of age, with what?
Stomach cancer. Yeah, Tony was in my house in 1985, and just yesterday we were talking about this because he didn't know what had happened. But my wife passed away in the summer of 1995, 10 years after we met, 10 years after he was in the house, with stomach cancer. And, you know, my first thought, you mentioned my skepticism earlier, I literally thought to myself, oh no, and here comes the doubts again. And they never came. But I had a graduate student who's now on our faculty who called me at the time and he said, where would you be right now if it weren't for the resurrection? And for me, Paul's point there about mourning, Christians mourn, but not as those without hope. It makes all the difference in the world whether you mourn with hope or without hope. We all despair when we lose a loved one, as this point about the disciples. But, you know, to me, mourning my wife without the resurrection and mourning my wife with the resurrection makes all the difference in the world. So to me, the answer to my questions in 1995, when something like this, if this is a world in which God has raised Jesus from the dead, then if that's true in 30 AD, it's still true in 1995, and I could rest assured I didn't know the answer. I don't know the answer to pain and suffering. I don't know anybody does, theist or atheist. We don't know the answers of pain and suffering. But with something like the resurrection, it made existential sense to me because it said something about her, where she was going.
Well,
where
spiritual, physical, what kind of way do you expect to see your wife then?
Right now, I think she's existing without a body, but I think we will be together and she will have a body, as I will.
So what happens when absent from the body is to be present with the Lord? What does that mean?
I think at the moment of death, before the Lord returns, believers are in the presence of the Lord without a physical body.
Okay.
I've got a friend, a philosopher, Buddy Peter Kreft at Boston College, who says, Plato was right as far as he went. He just didn't go far enough. Plato believed in disembodied state. What Plato did not believe in was a re-embodied state. And I think Orthodox Jews and Christians share that same hope.